Hey Facebook, this is Boris Sanchez. We're live in Tangipahoa, Louisiana. It's a place where there's severe flooding because over the last few days there's been this storm that's really been sitting here on the coast of Louisiana and into the Gulf, hitting the panhandle of Florida as well. And it's not one big storm, but it's several days of rain that have caused havoc here. I want to show you the mayor's house here in Tangipahoa. It's pretty inundated right now. Several inches of rain are on the ground here. Roads have been washed out. We've seen trees falling. The lights have gone out. Schools obviously have been forced to shut down. People are essentially on hold. The whole community's essentially frozen by this storm. I also want to show you down here, down this road. Just a short while ago, we heard that a man and his son had been walking there, and they were both swept away by the water. A few moments ago, we were told by police that the son was rescued, but the father is still missing. We haven't had any confirmation of any fatalities because of the weather here, but we know that a couple people have been injured. We know that earlier several people were taken to a church. They were evacuating their homes, and eventually the church got flooded out, so they're on the street as well. Just want to give you a heads up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them. There's a producer here that's going to feed them to me. We'd love to answer any questions you might have live from Louisiana. So what we have seen so far, in just a couple of hours, several inches of rain have fallen, up to 3 inches in 1 hour, and we're expecting to get more than a foot of water, more than a foot of rainfall here before it's all said and done. This really started on Monday, and it's going to continue raining, from what we understand, until at least Saturday into tomorrow night. There's a curfew in place in some places, and water rescues have been conducted. We were in one road where 5 water rescues were conducted in the course of an hour. People didn't realize how flooded the road was. They tried to go through it, and they got stuck. So obviously a very precarious situation, and people should be careful and be aware of what's going on. Right now, I actually want to introduce you to the police chief here in Tangipahoa. Thanks so much for joining us, Chief Martin. What are you seeing right now?
Well, we've had a lot of water, as you can see, that caused a lot of evacuation from our community. Thanks to the Kentwood mayor and the chief for opening up their doors to our people. Had nowhere to go at this time, and right now we have over a few hundred people that has been evacuated to the Kentwood High School gym, and we thank God for those who came out to support us, all the rescue units, the first responders, the wildlife and fishery, everyone that played a part in helping us to get these people out safe. Unfortunately, we have had this happen several times, but today it seems to be more of a heartbreaking story today.
Sure. I heard that we saw this kind of rain in March, and we've seen it several times over the past few years. Is this worse than you've ever seen it before?
This is as worse as I've seen it as I can remember. It wasn't as bad as last time. We had evacuation last time. A lot of people in the trailer parks lost their homes, and unfortunately they wasn't able to get any kind of help. So we're asking that somebody look at this community and help these people in our community, because we definitely need help at this time.
Sure. I heard mention earlier that there was a father and son that were swept off this road and that the son was rescued. Any idea if the father's okay?
Well, I've spoken at this time with the police chief, the fire chief, and he hasn't been found at this time, and hopefully just hope for the best.
Sure. What's your message to the people here? Obviously, a lot of people have been rescued from their cars because they weren't maybe aware of what was going on the road. Anything you want to say to them?
I'd just like to tell everyone, obey the law. The law is out here to serve and protect you, and we're not going to put you in any harm's danger. We're trying to keep you out of harm's way. And if you're taken out of your homes, don't try to go back in your homes until you are told to go back, because just the case it happens where people lose their lives because they're being disobedient to what the law is telling them not to do.
Sure. I understand you have some voluntary evacuations. Any mandatory evacuations on the way?
As of right now, we don't have any, but I'm pretty sure before this day is over, we will have some mandatory evacuation. We will have some mandatory curfew as of hours to come. Right now, there's nothing in place.
If people want to help, if people in nearby towns are watching and they want to help, what should they do?
They could contact the community. Contact me. I'm Chief Martin. They can contact Chief Casarone with the Kentwood Police Department, the mayor of Kentwood, the mayor of Tangipahoa. We just need, if you want to help us, just come out and support us. Call us. Numbers out there. My number is 985-514-7522. Just call my phone. I'm here, but we are not turning anyone down because we, as a community, need help.
All right, Chief Daryl Martin, thank you so much for talking to us. We appreciate it. Again, if you're just joining us, Facebook, we're live in Tangipahoa, Louisiana, where we're seeing some very, very severe rain and obviously flooding throughout the community. As I mentioned earlier, this isn't just one day, one storm that hit. This is a compound effect of about a week's worth of heavy rain falling in this region. The ground has been saturated and rivers have started to overflow. I think we have a question now.
Shane's asking how far are we from Baton Rouge? It's 60 miles north.
Gotcha. So we just got a question, how far are we from Baton Rouge? It's another area that's seeing a lot of flooding. We're about 60 miles northeast. This is a small village that's about 2 hours north of New Orleans, and where we've seen most of the rain has actually been along the coast, but obviously it's stretched out into parts of Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and the Panhandle in Florida as well. If you guys have more questions, feel free to post them. I have a producer here that's feeding me the questions. Here's another one now.
They're asking more about evacuations in the broader area. Can maybe bring in the Kent Police Chief or the Kentwood Police Chief to talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah, actually, I don't know the answer to that.
So we're getting questions about evacuations in the broader area. We know that at least here there are voluntary evacuations. We don't know of any mandatory evacuations so far, but we have the Kentwood Police Chief here. Sir, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Are there any other evacuations that you're aware of?
Well, not that I'm aware of on our end of the parish. Kentwood, we did see flooding unlike any we've seen in some time. However, it's subsided down there, and that's actually the location of our shelter right now, which is Kentwood High School. The power is currently off now, but I was been on phone in contact with our Office of Emergency Preparedness for the parish, and they do have a generator en route to that location so they can get the power restored for the people who are sheltering there.
Yeah, it's certainly good news. The other question I had for you, just out of curiosity, is there something about this area geographically that causes it to flood so often?
Well, the situation is we're kind of sitting on a hill, so to speak, from Kentwood to Tangipahoa. Even Tangipahoa is a high area compared to the southern end of the parish. The problem is we have just a massive amount of water that comes from Kentwood and further north that comes into Tangipahoa. And at Tangipahoa, the drainage system needs to be updated, and we're currently in the process of getting that. I'm the president of our drainage board for this area. So we're currently in the process of with DOTD as well as the railroad to try to get some extended or extra culverts in place to get the water out of here. It's just the problem is it's stopping right here, and but it's fairly high, and if the rain would stop in a couple hours, it would go down.
Right, because normally it doesn't rain,
Yeah.
for 5-6 days straight.
Yeah.
So the other question I had for you, is there anything that you guys are planning to do for cleanup? What's that looking like now?
Well, as far as cleanup, I mean, that would be a question for Tangipahoa City government, but I know that they do have something in place where they're requesting if anyone can bring supplies such as cleaning supplies, bleach, anybody can help come down, because this is a flood unlike any I've seen in some time, and they're going to need some serious cleanup around here.
Thank you again for speaking to us, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. So again, as you're hearing, it is what's known as a 1 in 100, 1 to 500 year flood in many places in Louisiana. Doesn't mean that it only comes around every 100 years, but that's really a way to look at the proportion, how likely it is that we're going to get a flood like this. 1 in 100 chances that we see this kind of rain. We have more questions coming in now from people.
They're asking, we're getting a lot of questions about the intensity. How strong does this feel? Just sort of like describe, so maybe if you want to bring the chief back and talk about the 1980s flood, or if you just want to talk
Sure.
about how.
Sure. So people are asking about how intense the flooding is, how intense the rain is. What we know so far is that in 1983 there was a record-setting flood here, and in a lot of places this flood is going to exceed the records that were set in that flood when several rivers crested over. So in terms of rain, storm, wind, there's not that much intensity. It's not really a particularly strong weather event. The issue is the consistency of the rain. For several days we've had rain, multiple inches of rain every day, and at one point the ground can't hold any more. It gets oversaturated, and bodies of water, creeks, rivers, lakes just overflow, and as we've seen here, they flow into communities, places where people live. So Facebook, I'm not sure if we have any more questions. Do we have any more questions? Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Facebook, keep following us on Twitter. We're going to have updates for you throughout the weekend as this flood continues.